The first time I met her, I was on cleanup duty in the hangar of the Orion's Gate, a deep space diplomatic frigate carrying more species than I could name. Humans were newcomers to the Alliance, and I was just a low-ranking maintenance tech. My job was simple: polish the armor of the visiting delegates' guards, make sure nothing gleamed too brightly, and stay out of the way. Her name, as I later learned, was Virelin Kothra, daughter of the House of Threx, a name that carried the kind of weight that could bend atmospheres. She was tall, graceful, and clad in an exosuit that shimmered like liquid chrome beneath the hangar lights. The Threxian armor was said to be alive, symbiotic nanometal that responded to thought and emotion. I was warned not to touch it unless I had permission. That morning she gave me permission. She stood still, her violet skin catching the blue light of the ship's engines. "Human," she said, her voice like water over glass. "Begin your task." I wished to appear immaculate. I nodded, trying not to stare at the fractal etchings that pulsed across her armor, living veins of light. I started to clean carefully, cloth in hand, motion steady. Her scent reminded me of rain on hot metal. She said nothing at first, watching me with those slit-pupilled eyes. Then she asked softly, "Do you polish all soldiers' armor this delicately?" I almost dropped the cloth. I try to do a good job. The captain says first impressions matter." Her expression didn't change. But I felt the air shift, a ripple in the hum of her suit. "First impressions," she murmured. "Among Threxians, the armor is an extension of the soul. You polish it gently, as if you care about what lies beneath." I swallowed hard. "Maybe I do." She tilted her head, a faint smile flickering. "Curious." The following weeks blurred into routine. Polishing, tuning, assisting the alien mechanics with tools I barely understood. But Virelin kept returning to the hangar, each time with a reason more contrived than the last. A recalibration, a scratch, a spiritual impurity that apparently required my hands to remove. We began to talk, carefully, cautiously. She told me that the Threxian Empire had never known affection as humans did. Their unions were arranged by genetic match, not emotion. Love was a myth. To her, compassion was weakness. Efficiency, the only virtue. And yet she lingered. Once, as I worked the buffer along her shoulder plates, I asked, "Why are you really here? The diplomatic summit ended days ago." She hesitated, then answered, "Because the way you touch the armor makes me feel seen." I didn't know what to say. One night, alarms shattered the silence. The Orion's Gate was ambushed by a rogue faction, Threxian separatists, hunting Virelin. The corridors filled with red light and static screams. I grabbed my toolkit and ran toward the hangar, where I knew she would be. I found her standing amidst fire and smoke, her armor flickering erratically. The living metal had been damaged. It pulsed like a wounded creature. "They've breached the lower decks," shouted. "I know," she said, eyes blazing. "They want me alive. I carry the genetic codes of my house, the only line that can inherit the Threxian throne. If they take me, the Empire falls." A plasma blast hit the wall beside us, molten steel raining down. I didn't think. I just grabbed her hand and pulled her toward the auxiliary bay. "Come on. There's a maintenance pod." She resisted at first, then followed, her strength staggering even in damage. As we ran, I noticed her armor shifting, trying to shield me. "Stop doing that," he yelled. "You're draining it." "You are not Threxian," she said through labored breath. "Why do you care?" I turned, meeting her gaze in the flashing light. "Because you do, even if you don't understand it yet." For a moment the world froze. Then she nodded once. We sealed ourselves in the pod, engines thrumming beneath our feet. Outside, the hangar doors shattered open, vacuum roaring in. I hit the launch control, and the pod blasted free, tumbling into the cold, endless dark. The silence afterward was immense. Inside the cramped capsule, I watched as her armor sloughed away in pieces, its living metal retreating into dormancy. She looked fragile. The violet of her skin had dulled, and her breath came shallow. "The symbiote is dying," she whispered. "Without it, so will I." I dug through my kit, desperate for anything that could help. "Tell me what it needs." "Energy. Emotional resonance. It feeds from connection. That is why." She stopped, voice faltering. "That is why your touch sustained it. Why I kept coming back." It hit me then, every conversation, every pause between us. The armor had been feeding not on heat or light, but on empathy. I reached out, took her hand. "Then take whatever's left." Her eyes widened, not in fear but in disbelief. "You would give that to me? A being you barely know?" "I know enough." She stared for a long moment and then slowly pressed her forehead to mine. I felt the warmth spread from her skin into my chest, a strange pulse echoing in my mind, like a heartbeat that wasn't mine. Her armor flared once, then twice, alive again. When she pulled back, there was light in her eyes. "You've bonded with me," she said quietly. "Do you understand what that means?" I didn't, not really. But I nodded anyway. "Guess I'll find out." We drifted for hours before a rescue ship from the Alliance found us. Varellin was taken to the med bay, her armor fully restored, though I noticed now it shimmered faintly with traces of blue instead of silver, as if reflecting my humanity. When she awoke, I stood beside her bed. "You're going to be okay." She smiled faintly. "Your species' compassion is inefficient. But I have come to admire it." I laughed. "You're welcome." Her expression softened. "Tell me, human, why did you care?" I thought about it, the long hours, the fragile connection forged between alien and man. "Because someone had to remind you that even stars need warmth to shine." For a moment she said nothing. Then, leaning close, she whispered, "Why do you care about me?" The same question from before, but softer this time, as if she finally wanted to know the answer. I looked at her, at the faint reflection of my face in her armor's sheen, and said, "Because you taught me that empathy can travel farther than light." When the Orion's gate resumed its course, Varellin was reassigned to the Threxian embassy on Earth. Before she left, she pressed a fragment of her armor into my hand, a living shard that shimmered with my own heartbeat. "Keep it," she said, "so that when you polish the next piece of armor, you'll remember. Care changes more than metal." Then she was gone, leaving only the faint scent of rain on metal, and the echo of a whisper that haunted every breath I took thereafter.